acne isn't necessarily a skin condition. I naturopathically see it as the end result of the body, not being in balance and elimination systems being blocked, or there's dysfunction somewhere, and the body's really communicating that it needs some more support.
Welcome to the Radical Health Rebel podcast. I'm your host, Lee Brandon. This work started for me several decades ago when I started to see the impact I could make on people, helping them to identify the root cause of their health problems that no doctor could figure out, including serious back, knee, shoulder and neck injuries, acne and eczema issues, severe gut health problems, even helping couples get pregnant after several IVF treatments had failed. And it really moves me to be able to help people in this way. And that is why I do what I do and why we have this show. Welcome to this episode of the Radical Health Rebel podcast. Today, we have a special guest, acne expert and naturopath, Hayley Barnes, joining us to discuss her personal acne journey and the innovative approach she now takes to help others struggling with acne. Through her training in naturopathy, Hayley teaches skincare professionals how to tackle acne and its root cause from the inside out. Join us as we dive into the world of holistic skincare and uncover the secrets to achieving clear and healthy skin. Hayley Barnes, welcome to the Radical Health Rebel podcast. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
It's great to have you on. So, Hayley, to kick things off, could you share with the audience your own journey and why you decided to study naturopathy and why you decided to help women overcome acne naturally?
Yeah, sure. So, I had a personal experience with acne. I find a lot of people in the industry that I am in do have a personal experience with acne. I struggled with acne since the age of 13 for about 10 years. So that's quite a long time, and being put on oral contraceptive pill, Roaccutane, oral antibiotics for over 12 months, really trying all conventional mainstream medicine options that were given to me at that time with the knowledge that I had at that young age. But I was always very curious as why, what would happen if you go off the medication? Why do I actually have acne? Is there something wrong with me? All these types of thoughts and processes that come up. So, I was always wanting to be quite, intrigued about what's actually happening inside my body for my skin to break out in acne. I finished school and I actually went into university to study osteopathic medicine because I was like, well, that'll teach me about the body. And, I really agreed with the osteopathic medicine philosophies. And I did 6 months and, the manual side of the manipulations just wasn't for me because once again, I wanted to get, down to the atoms. I wanted to be a chemical level within the body to really understand what's happening, what deficiencies that person may have had, what else is happening, on a pathophysiological level than a biochemical level. So I swapped into naturopathic studies and complementary medicine. And that was the best thing in my life. But I still had acne. I still had chronic acne, grade 3 acne when I was studying to be a naturopath. And so that was a massive process in itself. 2 degrees later, in naturopathic medicine, I obviously found the root cause of my acne, treated my acne accordingly, and treated other women's acne along the way in clinical practice through university, where we had to do observations and things like that. And that led me to opening my clinic, my online clinic that I've had since 2017, always having a special interest in acne and treating women's acne. I had a lot of messages and emails and comments from skin therapists, estheticians, dermal clinicians in the skin and beauty industry asking me how I was getting these results for my clients and how I'm doing it because they, skincare and treatments and using machines and things like that. They realized that wasn't getting to the root cause of their clients' acne, and they wanted to achieve the results like what I was doing. So that led me down the path of really niching and specializing in an industry where women go first for skin support and treatment. They feel more comfortable to go to a beautician, skin therapist, dermal clinician than going to a doctor or a dermatologist. So I was like, this is amazing. I can really make a big change here, niching and supporting these therapists to really, within their scope, learn how to identify the root cause of their clients' acne. And most importantly, explain the root cause and be confident explaining that and understanding it from, treating acne from the inside out. And that's where I am today.
Mm. Yeah. So you suffered from acne from age 13 to around 23.
Mm-hmm.
What age were you when you started your naturopathic studies?
I was 18.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So it took you about 5 years once you started learning,
Yes.
once you were studying naturopathy, to actually get to the point where your acne was clear.
That's
So
exact. Yeah.
so it's interesting, isn't it? Because, working with clients myself, for some people it is a long journey, and it's interesting how, and you were mentioning about, often people go and they get treatment on their skin, and it's interesting how, society as a whole, especially in the Western world, we have this paradigm where, you go and get treatment and you get fixed, and you get fixed very quickly, right?
Mm.
But actually, the approach that you use and I use, it's from within. Sometimes it's not a quick fix, and
No.
it's a journey that people have to go on.
Yeah, definitely. And, acne isn't necessarily a skin condition. I naturopathically see it as the end result of the body, not being in balance and elimination systems being blocked, or there's dysfunction somewhere, and the body's really communicating that it needs some more support and help. And there's a bigger health challenge happening internally. And this is a bit of a red flag for people to really wake up. But a lot of women from, clinical practice that I've spoken to really do have a lot of warning signs and symptoms that they're suffering with on the daily that they're probably not listening to. So slapping some acne right on the front of your face surely, will hopefully get you to listen. It took me a while to really listen to, the unique signs and symptoms that my body was trying to tell me as well. And, as I said, 13 is when I had acne. They don't teach you in school this base level of education about how to heal yourself and really find out what's going on internally, and not look out of yourself or out elsewhere for a solution to what's happening internally. I realize you need to know what's happening internally, and then you become more empowered to find that solution. And that's, where a therapist trained can support you. But really, I find that I now am able to make such a bigger difference in people's lives with acne, being an educator and really being a teacher and a mentor, as opposed to being a therapist or practitioner and kind of, like you said, telling, about what you need to do. It's really about the education, because acne isn't just something that it took me 6 years. We can't just wave a wand, a holistic wand, a naturopath wand, whatever, with herbal medicine and whatever to make acne go away. It's a lifestyle that you need to continually work on and really listen to what's happening in your body to achieve that result of, healthy hormones, clear skin, thriving amounts of energy, whatever the client's health goals are.
Yeah, for sure. And, the thing that I see a lot on social media is, people saying things like, oh, I tried this, it didn't work. And it's like, well, just trying one thing in isolation probably isn't going to work. You need a full holistic approach and coming from all different angles, and you need to give it time to work as well. If you've got a whole hormonal system that's completely out of balance, it's not gonna fix itself, particularly quickly. And if there's a lot of toxins that you need to, remove from the body as well, again, you don't want to do that quickly either, because that can cause a lot of problems in itself. So, it really saddens me that there are so many people out there that just don't know. They just have this paradigm of, what products do I need to use? What's the magic bullet product? Just tell me what it is and I'll use it. Or, I often see people saying things like, it's normal to have acne, it's healthy to have acne. And it's like, no. And I kind of understand what they're trying to say. It's more about body positivity. But they're missing the point that you're trying to get across to them. It's like, well, acne is your canary in the coal mine. And it's trying to prod you that there's something on the inside that you need to deal with. And to say that it's normal and it's, there's nothing unhealthy about it is actually incorrect. It's actually there for a reason. It's there to warn you. And when you look at, and we're going to come on to talk about it, when you start to look at, okay, so when you get down to it, what are the actual causes of acne? Well, if you look at the causes of acne and then you look at the causes of things like obesity and dementia and heart disease, they're the same, right? So if you start slapping on products and start chugging down pharmaceuticals and you don't deal with that root cause, then what's going to happen 20, 30 years down the line, right? So the best way is to deal with it now and deal with it at the root cause level, right?
Yes. That's why I actually just recorded a podcast on my channel, like a solo episode just about that. Obviously, I can't make statements because of legal reasons, but I was like, have you ever thought about treating your acne as preventing future health challenges from occurring? That was the name of my podcast episode. And I always like to talk about, with my clients, with my therapists that I teach, educating their clients, how long did you have acne? For me, it was 10 years. So, okay, let's put that in perspective and let's work backwards to, what we're going to work on to be able to fully go back and treat the root cause and all the other, other causes that have sprung off the root cause not being treated for that amount of years. And I think it's sad that a lot of women, when it comes time that they're open to have a family and they've struggled with acne previously and they've been put on the pill and things like that, they still haven't treated the root cause of hormonal imbalance, liver detoxification issues, lymphatic clearance, whatever it is. That it may be there for them. It's a really hard time for women. I feel like, menopause is another conversation, but I feel like, almost in a way it's similar that, women in this modern day and age tend to fall in a heap where they have this stress now of wanting to, conceive and really once again going back to what's wrong with me. So from a psychosocial and psychological level, acne is such a massive health challenge in so many different ways I've seen play out in women's body and their lives and their families' lives. So I'm really passionate about what I do, because I honestly believe that treating the root cause of acne will prevent these comorbidities and lots of potential other health challenges that could arise down the track once you stop and, really look at addressing the root cause of what's happening.
Yeah, it's interesting that in my book, which is called Eliminating Adult Acne for Good, there's a whole chapter about pharmaceuticals. So the pharmaceuticals that are used to treat acne, and I go through what the potential benefits are, what the potential side effects are.
Yeah.
And when you read the side effects, they're pretty horrendous, right? And I'm quoting when I talk about the side effects, I'm quoting the UK's National Health Service website. So, it's not me making them up. That's what's accepted.
Yes.
And I make a tongue-in-cheek comment at the end of the chapter, and I say, look, I have to be completely transparent. My clients, when they go through my program, also have side effects. The side effects are they lose weight, they got more energy, they sleep better, they get less cravings, they perform better at work, they perform better in their sport, they feel happier, etc., right?
Yeah,
So,
positive side effects.
yeah, exactly. When you deal with the root causes of issues, what you're basically doing, you're improving your overall health, right? So I have a saying that health and disease can't live in the same body. Well, if you're someone with acne and you get healthy, what do you think is going to happen to the acne?
Mm.
It's going to go away, right?
Mm.
One thing that you also mentioned that I think is really important, and I think many people that don't necessarily suffer from acne or potentially have never suffered from acne, which is not that many people because most people do
Mm.
at some point, is the psychological effects as well. And my own experience was that I had acne for 18 years, so you cured yours a lot quicker than I cured mine. But for me, self-esteem and confidence was just absolutely shattered. When you wake up in the morning and, I mean, some days I'd look almost like a leper. My face was so bad, and I'd have it on my chest and I'd have it on my upper back as well. And it just destroys your self-esteem and your confidence. And, you try, certainly for me, especially when I was at school, you try and kind of do your best to, still stay positive. But then, of course, you go to school, and what happens at school? You get teased. Whatever's different about you, you get teased for it, right? So obviously, I was teased a lot at school, and then, as into my 20s, and going for job interviews, socializing, dating, all those kind of things, massively affected. Particularly confidence.
Mm.
And I think a lot of people don't often appreciate. Yes, they can look at acne and say, yeah, it doesn't look very nice, but it's not just a physical problem. It's also, as you said, it's a very mental problem as well. And, it's the same for a lot of skin conditions as well, eczema, psoriasis. People can get to a stage where they feel quite suicidal sometimes, because of the way they look.
Yeah. I've had clients that have been suicidal, that have suffered with acne. I've had clients that won't, can't go to work or dread going to work just because what people are going to say. They don't feel professional at all. When they have acne, they don't feel clean, even though they are clean, and they think people think that they're dirty or something like that. There's lots of different things that have come out through the years that I've been in clinical practice. But yeah, in particular, there was a client that, she would drag herself to work and just hide herself in any way that she could with glasses, makeup, clothes, hairstyles, things like that and then as soon as she would get home, go straight into her room, and just hide out in there until she made sure that all her roommates were asleep before she could go out and eat. That's quite alarming and quite disturbing on so many different levels. And, you know, that's something that I suppose other health professionals that haven't had acne themselves might not really understand. And, you know, until you've had acne yourself and you've come across those challenges. And it's kind of you against acne. You know, you have that good cop, bad cop. It's like you against the acne, the angel and the demon. So you start having those types of, you know, inter communications in neural pathways, and, you know, sleeping and you know, having those thoughts. You know, we already have so many different thoughts that go through our head, but that extra load of processing in regards to what other people are thinking, what you think of yourself, how you look because of your acne takes a massive toll on your nervous system and, you know, your brain to be able to digest and process. That's why I always love, obviously, to look at the gut first, but hand in hand, the more years that I work in this space, supporting nervous system health and, you know, healthy cortisol balancing and really stress, because, you know, inflammatory conditions, acne, metabolic conditions, obviously that's going right to the cause when you look at that. So there's so many different angles, and it comes to, you know, priorities, and really comes down to what the treatment goals are for the client. And, you know, it's dependent on where the acne is on the person's face, body, chest, to what the cause of it will be, to where we go. But having that common factor of really supporting the nervous system and making that a priority is something we can do from a functional level as practitioners. But there's also that really, you know, you can lead a horse to water, but they need to drink. You know, having boundaries in your life, you know, really being mindful. And, you know, I say that not trying to greenwash meditation and mindfulness, but those are the types of things that, you know, decrease that overproduction of thoughts and processing that I was talking about, that the client, you know, will start to naturally do as they, you know, start to work with a therapist, and we start decreasing inflammation and working on the cause anyway. But I think it's always good to communicate and be mindful when you're working in this space that it's not all us, it's all them. And, you know, they need to, you know, be open to it and from be really trust and really hand on your heart, believe that you can heal, because a lot of people go to lots of different therapists and shop around, and they will believe that they will never be able to heal their acne, and this is just going to be them for the rest of their life. And I find, you know, the energetics of that, and, you know, obviously you can't measure that in a double-blind clinical trial. You know, there's not metrics there to gather that type of data, but I really believe, you know, the client needs to be confident in their ability and their body to heal, which can be quite challenging for acne clients because they've taken such a big toll over, you know, for your case, 18 years to their self-esteem and their confidence.
Yeah, it's interesting. And I just want to go back to something that kind of links together. And, you know, what we're talking about is how acne can affect you at a mental level. And then you were talking about, you know, the gut and the gut microbiome and how that can also affect your mood, right? You know, we're talking about the gut brain axis. But then you look at a product like Accutane, and one of its known side effects is suicidal thoughts, right? So you've got someone that's feeling bad because of the way they look. They could be feeling bad because their gut is imbalanced. And then they're taking a product that's making them mentally even worse. And what's quite interesting is that as soon as that started to become very well known, that, you know, Accutane can cause suicidal thoughts, rather than change the product so it doesn't cause suicidal effects, what did they do? They changed the name of the product, right?
Yeah.
So they used to call it Accutane, now they call it isotretinoin. And, you know, they did that because it started to get a bad reputation. And I think
Yeah.
that in a nutshell pretty much sums up the mentality of these industries that produce these products.
Yeah. Yeah. When you look at, big pharma and, dermatologists and, I've had people say to me, why don't you actually teach dermatologists how, to treat the cause of acne? They need to be taught this information. They only know what they've been educated in their medical degrees. This isn't a part of their curriculum in, whatever medical degree that they've had in regards to naturopathic science, nutritional medicine, pathophysiology, pharmacognosy, herbal medicine. This is what a naturopath is taught at university. So, they are really only doing what they've been told to do with the level of education they have. And I don't feel comfortable teaching dermatologists because I feel, depending on the person, but I feel like, you've just mentioned that example about the Accutane going to the isotretinoid. I feel like there's a lot of big pharma and, other kind of prescription medications that are pushed onto dermatologists as a treatment because there's no other education about other treatments available that would be communicated in a way that is researched and clinically backed by science and evidence-based research, which is why I was so committed to studying at the level I did with the 2 degrees that I have to, one, be able to communicate with therapists, with professionals who want to have that communication. But once again, I haven't had any dermatologists reach out to me and ask those types of questions and want to collaborate in those types of environments. So that's quite concerning because really we're looking for the best outcome for the client. And, everything you take can be a poison. It's just a matter of dosage. So we're wanting to really look at the most positive side effects that we can get out with still getting the resolution there solved for the client, which naturopathic medicine, herbal medicine, nutraceuticals, really addressing those deficiencies that a lot of people have does not, I don't understand how people can't understand that, when you correct a deficiency, the body goes back. I don't want to say homeostasis because our levels on, everything moves around on the daily in different ways, but comes back into balance, and like you have a cut, your body sends what it needs to bind up the blood, and you heal. You can do that with your acne as well. So I touched on a few things there about collaboration in the industry and, people not really understanding, but that does tie into the pharmaceutical industry and, having those really negative side effects. I don't know if you went on Roaccutane, but I went on Roaccutane for a year. And I did suffer with mental health side effects from that product. And what I like to explain to clients, and I'm not saying that naturopathic medicine doesn't have side effects because, like I said before, everything can be a poison. It's a matter of dose, and dosage is dependent on the individual. So yeah, I think it's a valid point that you bring up, and something that I'm quite vocal about in regards to those side effects being actually for life and being permanent as well, which is another conversation that I don't think is necessarily communicated to acne patients, even if they've given a leaflet that they might just look at for 1 second. One is that person being able to understand the communication that they're trying to relay, that what side effects, and 2, is there any information, or is there how many studies have been done on a person's lifetime, over a lifetime, how many side effects they've suffered with, and how would you really know that anyway, because they might have taken, like most acne clients do, a combination of acne medication. So there's that factor as well.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. Again, talking about dermatologists, and as you were saying, they're trained in a certain way, and they have, let's just say, limited tools in their toolbox.
Mm-hmm.
And I think my guess would be, if you, let's say you had a dermatologist and they were very open-minded and they said, Hayley, I'd love you to teach me everything you know. And then you would teach them and they'd say, but I can't practice that in my scope of practice. Right? Does that make sense? So you could teach them what they need to know, but they still, as a dermatologist, they probably wouldn't be allowed to actually do that anyway. Litsa was a 30-year-old professional woman suffering from severe acne and scarring. She was in utter despair and didn't know where to turn. She worried that her partner might leave her because of her skin, and Litsa's condition was as bad as I've ever seen. Following testing, it was found that Litsa had toxoplasma, as well as food sensitivities to gluten and soy. Litsa was a great client to work with. She jumped in and followed the program almost 100% to the letter. She cut out the foods that she was sensitive to. She had infrared saunas as advised and used the recommended essential oils. After working with me, Litsa reported how much her skin had improved and how she had much more confidence. She's also gone on to marry her partner and started a family. If you would like to achieve the same kind of results as Litsa, you can now follow a comprehensive step-by-step guide in my brand new book, Eliminating Adult Acne for Good, available now from all major online bookstores and via my website at www.bodycheck.co.uk/books.
Why wouldn't they be allowed to practice nutritional medicine and, telling people about what foods are going to support their skin? That's a conversation. And even my skin therapists and dermal nurses say that's not within my scope and practice. And I said, well, broccoli and pears and apples and fiber never really killed anyone. So, I think it'll be fine. I don't think we're prescribing, heavy dose pharmaceutical medications that have side effects like suicidal thoughts. So I think that is incorrect, and that's what I tell my therapists that take my course, Advanced Acne to Glow. It is within your scope of practice, and actually, it's your duty of care to be able to support your clients on a baseline level, know what nutrients are needed to bring the body back into balance to heal their acne from within. We're not talking about prescribing practitioner-only products, herbal medicine, or anything like that. This is just straight out nutrition, what you need to be eating and what you shouldn't be eating for acne-prone skins.
Yeah, it's interesting. Obviously most of my experience is working with people in the UK, although I've worked with people other countries as well. And, when obviously a dermatologist is someone that's medically trained, I've never heard of any dermatologist or even doctor suggesting that someone might look at their diet. In fact, I was told by my own doctor many times, diet and acne, there's no link whatsoever. And even on the UK's National Health Service website, it's got like a section on myth busting under acne. And it says that it's a myth that there's a link between diet and acne. Right. So that's kind of what, a lot of acne sufferers are up against is a system where, first of all, doctors and dermatologists, sadly, and again, I'm not bashing people, they're just not trained to help people with acne from a root cause level, right?
No. Fantastic at saving lives, doctors, dermatologists, fantastic at saving lives, but their area of expertise isn't acne and isn't chronic health conditions. Everybody knows that. That's where naturopaths, functional medicine practitioners really shine, because once again, it's a constant, constant practice of living that way, and consistency is key. if you just try something and you don't have a actual treatment plan behind when we're going to actually reassess and have a look at what was the benefit of this, what dosage will decrease that down to really have a look to see how your body is responding. And this is the date that we're actually going to take you off of this nutritional medicine practitioner only product, then I would really question, that professionals' practice in regards to treating acne, because no one needs to be on anything for the rest of their life to treat acne. It's about, like we talked at the start of this call, having a treatment plan and step by step looking at the body and the systems of elimination, because you don't want to be stimulating the body, the liver, and really getting a lot of build up there that when the client isn't able to move their bowels every day, where is all that build up of excess waste and potential toxins in there going? It's being reabsorbed back into the system. That's where we see a lot of, estrogen excess and acne coming through that way. So there needs to be a step-by-step, a course or a way that you're working with someone that, they've been able to get successful results and really look at the body, from a pathophysiological level and work backwards. And, you really had acne themselves as well because they've lived it and breathed it.
Yeah, I completely agree. And, again, looking back at my 18-year story, so all I was given was, benzoyl peroxide, salicylic acid, and antibiotics for 18 years. That was it. And when I would go back to the doctor and say, look, it's not working, the only tool in his toolbox was, here's another antibiotic, right? That was it. So, in recent years, whenever I've tested my microbiome, there's like so many commensal bacteria that's just extinct from my gut now, right? Which is no real surprise. So I suppose part of my message to people is that, a lot of these medications can cause you lifelong issues that you have to deal with. I mean, I have to be absolutely on point with everything just to stay at a normal level, but I think for a lot of people, I think the challenge a lot of people have that are suffering and they don't feel like they're finding the answers is finding someone like you or me who can actually help them, that's been through it ourselves. We've been trained professionally. We know we've been through the process of healing ourselves as well and have already healed others. I think that's quite important for people to try and find someone that kind of meets that criteria. And as you've said a few times already, naturopaths, functional medicine practitioners, they're really the people, and you could say nutritional therapists as well. They're really the people that people with acne need to be seeking advice from. I'm going to say, from my experience, personal experience, the medical industry let me down and they caused me a lot of harm. And my experience of clients coming to me is that they've been to their doctor, they've been to a dermatologist, and 100% of the time they weren't able to help them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, one thing I mentioned earlier was that, a lot of people, when they've got acne, they're just thinking about topical products and pharmaceuticals. What most people struggle with, as I've kind of alluded to, is really how to get started to, how to start treating their acne internally. What would you say is the best place to start for most people?
I would say the best place to start treating your acne internally is identifying what the root cause of your acne actually is. So then you can work backwards. A lot of people go straight to the prescription or the creams or whatever, the foods, because not every food is going to work for the same person as well, because we're all so different. So I would say work with someone that really can teach you how to identify and read the signs that your body is giving you to find out what the root cause of your acne is. And that's why we were talking about before, like, naturopaths, functional medicine practitioners, nutritionists, these are the people that people need to go and see. But I argue that women particularly are still going to see estheticians, skin therapists, dermal nurses, skin clinics and things like that before they're actually going to us. And that's why, I'm so passionate about really educating and supporting those therapists to, number one, know how to identify the root cause of clients' acne and teaching the client. And number two, in regards to where do you start in treating your acne internally, is be educated about what's actually happening, because that means that the treatment plan or whatever you're going to work on will be easier to implement into your life, because you will understand the goal and what's happening internally and why you're doing it. That's something that wasn't communicated to me even when I started, doing quote unquote more natural treatments, internal treatments for my acne. I still didn't actually understand what's happening and why I'm doing it. So, we can talk and, in explaining that to clients on a simplified level is absolute key. I think even more than, really, giving the treatments, working out the bacteria, doing the microbiome testing, doing the Dutch testing, working on the hormones, doing, the SAMI, doing the DIM, doing whatever, we're doing with the client. Those two steps before actual treatments are so important, because as I've mentioned, acne, having clear skin is a lifestyle, and you have to feel empowered and educated about your body, because you're in charge of your body and you're your best therapist, practitioner than me. And so if you can really catch yourself and really understand, I'm breaking out on my cheeks, that's connected to my gut health. What have I been eating? What's changed in my diet? And really kind of being a bit of a detective yourself and really feeling empowered. I think that provides the most beautiful skin and healthy life long term than the work that we can just do with a prescription.
Yeah. What would be, if you can imagine, someone's listening to this, they've got acne, they've tried everything, they might have had it for several years, they've tried all the products, they're probably still on pharmaceuticals, let's say, and they're trying to seek someone perhaps who you've trained. What would be some good questions? Like if someone maybe, they wanted to find a practitioner, what would be some good questions for someone with acne to ask the practitioner to kind of work out whether they're a good person to work with? What would you say some good questions might be?
Are you Advanced Acne to Glow certified? That's my course. But, asking questions like, where have you studied? What level of education do you have? What's your clear skin philosophy? How do you get your clients results? What makes me different? What do you believe the root cause of my acne is and why I haven't been successful, even though I've tried X, Y, Z? And really kind of not seeing as like a drilling or an interrogation, but just really being curious about your body and their experience. We're all humans, we're all not perfect. So I think just having that communication with professionals, if somebody asks me that, and people do ask me that, I'm like, wow, this person is really passionate and I'm really excited to work with them because they really want results. So on the other end, don't feel like you're being nosy or you're interrogating or, you're pissing that therapist off, because if they're a very good therapist, then they will see it like someone being passionate and really wanting to get results and really having that compliance and making it a good fit for the treatment that's going to go forward.
Yeah, there's some really good questions there. But then again, if someone's got acne, what should some of the answers be coming back to convince them that that might be the right person for them?
Yeah. So answers like, I've been, to university. I've got a degree in naturopathic medicine, in nutritional medicine, things, red flags like doing day courses and weekend courses and things like that. And I think this is another conversation, if you get answers like, I've been doing some trainings with through my workplace is probably not a really good answer, because a lot of talking from the skin and beauty industry, because that's my area of expertise that I work in. A lot of the therapists are getting trained from skincare reps or getting trained from supplement companies that are retail range supplements. They're not actually professionally accredited or needing a prescription. So the efficacy of a clinical outcome that those, products are actually being prescribed is questionable, and it's quite a bit of a marketing machine from my point of view. Essential fatty acids, things like that. It's great. The thought processing behind it is fantastic, but we need to look at dosage as well, and also companies where they're selling machines and lasers and things like that. So making sure that the person that's guiding you isn't having any education from biased sources. And that can lead into, even if you want to look at dermatologists and doctors, having a bit of a biased approach, for, pharmaceutical medications, and things like that. That they only have that one bias kind of option of using pharmaceutical medications. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. But I think you just really need to think logically about how you're going to get the best results and how someone isn't going to make money off you in the process of treating your acne.
Yeah, what I would just add to that, I would say, if it was me, I would say, can you show me proof of people that you've worked with,
Mm-hmm.
that you've helped? And I know, for me, I find it quite difficult. Well, not difficult, but having gone through acne myself, I kind of know what it's like to be on the other end. So I often ask clients, look, could you provide me with a success story with before and after photos?
Yeah.
Very few people actually enjoy their before photos and put plastering that on people's websites. I'm fortunate I have got some people that have done that. And I've got plenty of success stories. And fortunately, I've probably got enough people that have said, yeah, this is my before and this is my after. What you did was amazing. I'm really happy to support you. And I want to show other people that, you're the real deal, kind of thing. But most practitioners, if they've got a proven track record, should be able to show you that. That would be another thing that I would add, really.
Yeah, definitely. And you bring up a really good point that, obviously we've talked about acne really affecting people's confidence, and that just doesn't go away with a magic wand as soon as you start to reduce the active acne that's on the face. It can be a long process, that, it's kind of like that analogy when someone gets lap band surgery, they're still fat. They still have that psychology of going for those foods that they want, and that's why they need to see a psychologist when they're getting that surgery. So, even that analogy of, treating someone's acne, you still really need to nourish and support their mind, because they may still have those tendencies to have that overthinking and those thoughts about, everyone looking at them or them not being professional enough and things like that. So I've had situations where, we've cleared up active acne on the face. There's a lot of pitting scarring, and that scarring just to the client looks like acne anyway. So there's no active acne left, but the scarring is still setting that client off in regards to having a physical a physical complication in regards to that mental processing of them overthinking is leading to them not sleeping, and them not sleeping is leading to irregular cortisol and melatonin production, which is leading to a hormonal imbalance and potentially a relapse of acne. So I think it's really important to have that holistic approach, and I've had clients that haven't wanted to have their photos displayed. So you need to get those before and afters and obviously ask that. But I think, once again, it does come back and ask if you can jump on a clarity call with the, a call, a free 10-minute call, and really have that communication, because anybody can unfortunately just write success stories or, alter filters and things like that and say that they're an, acne influencer and whatever
True.
as well.
True.
So, I think once again, coming back to that communication, and really people are very smart. Humans are very amazing. So you can read energies and kind of know in your gut and in your intuition whether that's going to be a good fit for you or not.
Yeah, for sure. So one thing that we've both kind of touched on, but I want to go into a bit more detail. There's a lot of misinformation around acne. And, as I mentioned, I expose a lot of it in my book. But why, in your view, is misinformation about acne such a big problem?
Yeah, I touched on it a little bit in regards to, having information from biased sources being a problem for people with acne in the skin and beauty industry in regards to, the training, because treating the cause of acne isn't taught in college. And I have students that have done their Bachelor of Dermal Sciences, which is technically the highest kind of degree before a dermatologist that you could get here in Australia if you're wanting to specialize in the skin and beauty industry. Do my course, because it's not taught in that curriculum, which is quite scary, seeing as the skin and beauty industry, that's the gold standard, which is why I created my course. But so when you think when we've got this not even misinformation, but lack of information and potentially biased misinformation being trickled down through Chinese whispers, through skincare reps and other kind of sales-orientated marketing people offering trainings where they're selling their product at the end of it. That level of miscommunication it can be quite dangerous and is quite concerning, and is one of the reasons why I get up and do what I do to put a stop to that and really have a gold standard of education in regards to acne and treating the cause of acne in the skin and beauty industry, because all types of things can happen there. Obviously, number one, the client doesn't treat the root cause of their acne and spends a lot of money in the process, and a lot of, they're really quite vulnerable, and that self-esteem can really take a hit through putting yourself out there with a therapist and really wanting to be open to make changes. But the misinformation that you actively do isn't correct. And so that can be quite challenging for people when they do what they've been told to do, but it's not actually the right thing to do. So, yeah, it is quite concerning. And, there's a lot of fads that come through the years. We've had the methylation thing when I was finishing uni, and then we had the gut microbiome. And, there is research about that, and that's the facts. But there's all these other little trickles of Chinese whispers that come through that really need to go to someone like myself, like yourself, and really kind of, be told about what's the facts and what's something that people are just making up and then they're believing it because, one, they're too slack to go find out what the actual science is. Two, they might not be educated to understand some of the placebo trials, some of the research papers. Hell, some of the research papers I can't understand because of the language that they use is for researchers and professors in the academic space. So that's another probably podcast interview in itself. How are consumers and clients meant to be educated when we've got all this misinformation, even when they're trying to do the right thing?
Something that you said, I just need to pick you up on it in terms of it's amazing what you said, and it's almost hard to believe. So you said that dermatologists in Australia don't study acne at all.
Dermal clinician. So the Bachelor of Dermal Science, where we have our dermal clinicians study a Bachelor of Dermal Sciences here in Australia, do not study. Maybe they have a couple of subjects on nutrition, but they do not study at all something that is specific to acne in regards to treating the root cause of acne. And I can say that's why I have dermal nurses in my course, because they're not taught it at all.
Gotcha. Yeah. So they probably do stuff on acne, but it's just not from the root cause level.
Oh, it's just talking about acne from a surface level, and what they need to do in regards to what lasers they're using or what instructions they're doing or whatever type of physical treatment or peel, or the active skincare that needs to be used to treat acne on that level. But there's no, pathophysiology, and, talking about the root cause of acne, nutritional medicine, at all.
Yeah. So I guess if you went to see a dermatologist and you said, what causes acne, they're just going to come out with it's androgens, it's blocked pores, it's inflammation. But actually the question is, but what causes those to happen in the first place, right?
Yeah, well, these are dermal nurses. They're dermal clinicians, they're dermal nurses. In regards to dermatologists, I'm not too sure about their curriculum, but I would say from the level of results that I've seen them not be able to achieve in regards to acne, they wouldn't be taught nutrition at all, or maybe just like a subject or I think I did ask a dermatologist once when I went to see one to get Roaccutane when I didn't know the knowledge that I know now. And I think I asked the question, which was not really taken well from a, 19-year-old woman. And yeah, I think he said there, they had a guest lecturer come in and things like that. So, yeah, and we can have a science evidence-based debate as well. Like I've got, there's now amazing naturopaths, naturopathic doctors that have gone through and spent their life and their legacy to researching and publishing all of this data. So now it's such a cool place to be a naturopath because, if they want to really talk about the science and the evidence-based practice in regards to treating the cause of acne, like I'll bring it. I've got the science and I can talk about that as well. And it's always changing and that's what I see in the industry as well. Like a lot of people are just taught in college, and they just stick with that level of education. I'm always trying to, go on podcasts like this, learn from other people, go on to PubMed, have a look at the articles that are coming out, go on to Google Scholar, go on to unbiased sources where I can look at the evidence in regards to treating acne, and, really making a change in people's lives. Sometimes it's scary though, because when you look at, what they've been trialed on, when you're looking at, journal articles, if it's a product and then you look down the bottom and you scroll and that product's actually funding the trial, then that's also a red flag as well.
Well, I did extensive study into acne on PubMed for several years whilst I was writing my book.
Mm.
And I never found a study longer than 12 weeks when studying a product. And my experience of using products is that they do some improvement in the short term, but then you use them long term, and they not only do they stop working, but they actually make the acne worse. That's my personal experience.
Mm.
And a lot of these products as well, they're only meant to be used short term,
Mm.
right? Because they've only been studied short term. So how do they even know what the long term effects are? Because none of them have been studied long term, or certainly I've never found any that have been studied long term. And also, I've never found a study that says if people use this product, it will cure your acne. What it tends to say is it might say something like it reduced the number of acne lesions in 50% of the participants. Right?
I love that you because I see it over and over again, and yeah, I like that how you said that acne lesions 50% because that's what is said, and I agree. It's just like, can someone publish some research that actually gives people with acne real results that they can really hand on their heart and confidently go, yes, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this long term. Because I say, confidence is obviously really taken a toll in our acne clients, but confidence when treating acne can also, it's not as if every acne client it's just going to be a walk in a park to treat their acne. Every person is different. Yes, you can treat the cause of every single person's acne. Yes, you can. But you need to know exactly how to do it and exactly how to do it with the right system. And you need to know exactly what the cause is. Causes of people's acne can change over the years. You think of a 10-year period where I had acne, the cause of my acne changed, multiple times, just as someone's prescription or when they're seeking practitioner-only supplementation, their prescription changes to what's happening, to what season they're in, to how they're feeling, to if they're consistently not feeling well and having lots of respiratory infections, well, we're really going to boost up their immune system support and add that into their script. It's really about really having your finger on the pulse with your acne clients and treating the person sitting in front of you as a whole person and not just a product for that 32-year-old woman with acne. It doesn't work like that. You need to address the whole person and what's happening in their life, what are their goals, everything, what's happening with the person, and you have to have attention to detail. You have to really sit down and work out what's happening with that person and really be a bit of an investigator. I find, yes, we can all reduce like all of the dairy and take out the seed oils and add in more fiber, add in more fruits and vegetables, add in good quality sources, organic, all these types of things. But that's just one part of it. That's not the whole part of treating the cause of acne. Why does that person need, for example, if they're deficient in a certain nutrient, why do they need more of that nutrient? What's actually happening for them? You might do well on this amount and I might do well on half the dose, and that's what I need. We're also individual, and I think that's the power of naturopathic medicine. There's a bias from me because I am a naturopath, and that's how I'm trained, is we bring it back to the individual.
Yeah, that just reminds me, actually, I saw a lady made a comment on a social media group, and she's obviously suffering really badly with acne. And she said, I went to see a naturopath. He gave me a ton of supplements to use. They didn't work. And, and I wanted to comment and say, that's not what a naturopath is.
Yeah.
Right? A naturopath isn't someone that dishes out tablets to people. There's a lot more to it than that. Now, of course, I don't know the context behind it all. It might be that, actually the naturopath did a lot more than that, but that's all that person understood that they were being told to do. Or it might just be that, that's the way that naturopath works, but doesn't mean that that is what naturopathy is, right?
Yeah.
Sharon, a 52-year-old business consultant, came to see me because she was waking up every night and not able to get back to sleep, leaving her exhausted during the day, which was very concerning for Sharon. She occasionally had a dull ache in her stomach, and she also suffered from acne. But Sharon was most desperate to get to the bottom of her sleep issue. Following a series of tests, it was found that Sharon had a gut infection, which was the likely cause of her waking at night and causing the stomachache, and she also had a leaky gut and food sensitivities, which may have played a role in her acne. Sharon went on a low FODMAP diet and supplementation plan to rebalance her gut microbiome and help repair her gut lining and to support her immune system. Within days, Sharon felt much better. Within weeks, Sharon was sleeping through the night, her stomach ache vanished, her skin was clear, her energy levels increased, and her weight, particularly around her middle, in her own words, simply dropped off. If you're suffering with sleep, gut, or skin issues and want to get to the root cause, and you'd like to achieve a great result just like Sharon, then go to www.bodycheck.co.uk, that's bodychek.co.uk, to request your consultation. Now, back to the podcast.
Yeah, and what's the where was that person qualified? If you give a whole heap of supplements if I gave a whole heap of supplements to someone when I was in clinic and I had my clinical supervisor and I have to justify every single supplement to him before I could be approved to prescribe it, that's quite a big process because they wanted me to literally mind map what is happening biochemically in behind, whether it was phase 1, phase 2 liver detoxification, what nutrients are needed, what's going out, what's that going to be doing, how long they're going to be on it. That's the level of communication we would have just for one supplement. It's quite concerning if somebody is giving all of those supplements. And, I understand collectively that people are scared of naturopaths just loading them up with supplements and just making money off of them as well. Like we've talked about pharmaceutical industry, but there is greenwashing out there. There is, pseudo green industries as well out there as well. So once again, like I keep coming back to having that communication and really, understanding where the ethics of that person is coming from. And, what have they had acne themselves? It's probably a really good question to start with, because I don't think if you've had acne yourself, you would want to just make money off people and give them supplements. Because you've lived and breathed it yourself. So, and a lot of I see skin therapists and dermal clinicians get really scared about treating acne as well. And I think we need to address that as well. It's not something scary because there's amazing therapists out there who could really specialize in this area as well and be amazing. It's not something scary. It's something that just needs to be done in a step-by-step process. And the rewards you get from really seeing people succeed, and really for me having that light bulb moment of understanding the connection between their body and their skin and how everything is connected is better than the before and afters, and will stay with that person until they die, because they can understand if they get an infection, if they have, thrush, if they have, an overgrowth of yeast, whatever. They have this level of education that everything's connected. What have I eaten that could throw that yeast infection off? What have I done? What conversations have I had? How often have I been at work? What else is happening in my life that, in other areas than just acne? And that's a positive side effect of really finding a therapist who's excited, educated, and really passionate about not only treating the cause of acne with the right supplements in a treatment plan, but really educating you on the way and, really having a communication instead of just we don't want to turn into a 15-minute appointment like a doctor and, here's your script. That's the power of a really good naturopath, is having that communication, that education. Education is power. And, we don't want to do any harm. And, you can just get so much out of someone really, really confidently understanding what's happening in their body and where they need to go and where we're going to go together than, just getting that supplement, because you're not going to stay on that supplement forever. And that's just one part of the process. But I feel like a collective energy is people just want to know what it is. What's the tablet I need? What's it going to be for me to treat my acne? It's got to be just something that's out there that I don't know yet. And that's not necessarily the answer that I'm going to give them. And necessarily that's not the answer what people want to hear. So there's that to factor in as well.
Yeah, I think Hippocrates got it right when he said you shouldn't really treat the disease, but you should treat the person that has the disease.
Yes.
Right. So I've got one more kind of big question for you.
Oh, I'm choking.
Yeah. Have a sip of water. So, one thing again I see quite a lot on social media groups is women talking about using birth control pills to treat their acne.
Yeah.
What's your view on using the oral contraceptive pill to treat acne?
Oh, God, where do you start? I think one thing to make really clear, and which I keep talking about, is there's no education behind using the oral contraceptive pill and for that to treat acne. Even if you're not even looking at treating acne and you're just wanting to use the oral contraceptive pill for contraception measures, where's the education about what's actually happening in the body? That's just from starters, And then we go backwards in regards to, treating acne. There is no education given. Doctors have 15 minutes. They have, in Australia, Medicare rebates, targets they have to meet, things like that. So they're pushing clients through. There's no education. It's all brought on with fear. Education is massive. Like when you sit down and you talk, it's a big conversation, the oral contraceptive pill. And women are just put on it that this will not only help treat your acne, but you won't be out, you won't have any fertility, any pregnancy scares. And people are put on it from a young age. I think I was put on it when I was 14. So that's quite scary when you're seeing, women, young girls, menstrual cycles and hormones and all of that really being formulated still and really coming into maturity. So it is quite alarming and quite scary, to be very honest with you, that this generation coming through, unless they are educated and empowered to make those decisions and have parents there that are educated to be able to walk a path with them that's different to the oral contraceptive pill. We're not going to know the damages of that. I mean, we're already starting to see it with the rates of infertility, because a lot of people are, go on the pill to quote unquote treat their acne and get taken off just before they want to get pregnant. And are unable to get pregnant because we've got this massive post-pill acne rush, and we've got all these hormones that are coming back in trying the body wants the best for you, and the body's trying to bring back all these hormones into balance after being flatlined from synthetic hormones over a period of 2 to sometimes 20 years that women are on these types of contraceptions, whether it's the IRD, the Mirena, the oral contraceptive pill, whatever device, the copper rod, things like that. It's very concerning. I'm very concerned about it, and that's why I do what I do to give people those options, that there is another way. And not only is there another way, but the way that you've been told to go from quote unquote the gold standard being a doctor isn't the right way when you're treating acne.
What would be your advice? Let's say It's a female. She's 22. She's been suffering from acne for 8 years. She's tried, all the skin creams and everything. She goes to her doctor, and the doctor said, right, what we need to do, we need to put you on the contraceptive pill. If you were, let's say, an ethical doctor, what would be, in your view, what would be the positives and what would be the potential negatives of, because obviously a doctor's meant to give informed consent, right? I
Yeah.
mean, we know generally, sadly, medical doctors tend to fail to do that properly. But if a doctor was to give proper informed consent about prescribing contraceptive pill for acne, what do you think they should be telling the patient?
There's other options out there for you to treat your acne. You can work with a university qualified naturopath or nutritionist to really find the cause of your acne. I'm limited to what I can prescribe to you with the level of education that I have. I'm happy to give you a referral for a psychologist, because I understand that acne at your age can be very hard to deal with, and that way you can get some support from a psychological level in the healthcare system. And I'm happy to run blood testing to really find, where you might have some imbalances within your body, whether that's in your gut or your hormones, or we just want to make sure your iron levels are right, everything's happening, really having that type of conversation would be absolutely amazing. Imagine if every doctor just had that type of communication with their acne clients, because that's why they're coming into the doctor, is for acne. If they need, if they have PCOS, if they're having red flag, if they're bleeding every day and losing that much blood, if they're, doctors are there to keep you alive. If they're suffering from life-threatening issues, then do what you need to do as the doctor. But having those types of conversations and cross referrals and being confident in the other therapists that they're trained, if not longer. Like I went to uni for 8 years, to study at the level I did. So having that confidence in other therapists to really work in a collaborative space. I've worked before, with doctors, and they've, set the client up with a healthcare plan for them to see a psychologist, which has been amazing. And, they've been able to work through some things. I'm not a psychologist. So, really supporting the client lab. Like, we can work holistically within the healthcare system we have. It's the mindset around it, and still that old school, the doctor knows everything mentality, and I'm just going to trust the doctor, is still there. And that needs to change from the people with acne up, because the person with acne is going to the doctor first. The doctor hasn't asked them to come in to see them as well.
What do you think? What do you think the doctor is thinking? Why is it that doctors are thinking that the contraceptive pill is a good idea? Is it purely just because it reduces the effects of androgens?
I think the doctors are literally just wanting to be safe, and it's safe when someone's hormones are just flatlined and literally just put away in a little safe bucket that they're controlled. And, that controlling of flatlining, luteinizing hormone, follicle stimulating hormone, progesterone, estrogen is going to resolve the problem. But hormones do a dance all day, every day, and do different dances at different stages in women's lives. So that's not really going to work for a person. And I get a lot of clients that are going through menopause and their acne comes back as well. So once again, you haven't treated the root cause. So I think it's really like, this is what the pharmaceutical industry has said is going to reduce 50% of acneic lesions on the face. And then that's what they have to prescribe. And It's a safe, um, I suppose, zone, and something that they can, what's the right word? I suppose just like control, having that control, that flat line. This is what we can do. You take this, like it'll just be easier. You won't have a period. Like, they kind of say those types of things. So I think just an easy option. And I don't think having the time to really, really have a 1 hour to 1.5 hour initial appointment and really work with the client to find out what the cause of the acne is and an option for them.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing as well, I'm sure you've heard of it as well, is the real rebound. And I think you did mention it when a woman stops taking the contraceptive pill, their acne comes back, and it comes back with a vengeance, because they haven't dealt with the root cause.
And which is very scary, because a lot of women are petrified to go off the pill because of post-pill acne and the flare-ups that they know that they're going to have to go through. So they just stay on it because they're fearful of what their skin's going to be 10 times worse. But the way that a qualified advanced acne to go therapist or myself that I know would be able to help is you can really do liver work from, foods and things like that. Obviously, you're limited with herbal medicines and things like that when you're taking a pharmaceutical medication. There's certain contraindications you need to look at. But from a food point of view, there can be something as, collaborative medicine, like it's not alternative. It can be complementary to really work on a process to support women to come off the oral contraceptive pill and not have that really crazy post-pill acne. There is a way that you can come off, and, when you really look at what foods support liver health and making sure that we're having all of those hormones moving along, there's nothing being stored in there, you're having regular bowel motions, you're eating the right amount of fiber. There's more that I go into, and I'm sure you go into as well, that, you can do with clients that are on the oral contraceptive pill in whatever way they've got there. They're taking it to really support them to start the journey now to venture off of it. It'd be great if you didn't go on it in the first place, but I did, and so many women do, because of that fear and, just going to the doctor because the doctor knows best is what you're taught when it comes to acne, which is incorrect. So I think, paying some attention to complementary medicine if you do choose and you do really want to make that decision. I'm not here to judge. If you really want to take the oral contraceptive pill to treat your acne, go for it. But, it's not going to give you the benefit of all these other massive positive side effects, and long term it's not going to treat the cause, which is hormone imbalances, gut health issues, all these other things that we've talked about can lead to other comorbidities.
Yeah, and the other thing just to obviously be aware of as well is the potential side effects as well, which can be pretty horrendous, particularly long term.
Yeah, and there's so many different pills out there now. So I think, Diane, Brenda, Yasmin, there's been so many, and obviously they're different to where you're listening to this podcast in the world. There's just going to be more put on the market as well as the years go on. So I think it's kind of really good to get present with yourself and really ask that question, why do you have acne? How are your bowels? Are you having a bowel motion every day? How are your stress levels? What are you eating? Are you eating just for fuel, or you're eating to nourish your skin and your body and your hormones? I think it's really interesting. Like, as soon as women want, like from clinical practice, as soon as women decide that they want to get pregnant and they want to have a family, they're like, oh, I can't eat that food, or what's the best foods I need to be eating, or I need to start taking some time off work, or, I can't do that. So then their skin starts to get better because they're starting to take better care of themselves because they're preparing to fall pregnant or be open to conception. why do we have that mindset that we have to be that healthy to conceive when we're ready? We should have that mindset our whole lives, whether you're open to having a family or not open to having that family. I believe you should take your health that seriously, serious but not serious. Obviously, we don't want to be too serious on ourselves, but really, honor yourself that much that you need to slow down when you feel like it, and you need to nourish yourself with the right foods and be around the people that bring you up and don't bring you down, which people only make these changes when they're like, oh, we're going to have a baby. We need to stop drinking coffee and alcohol and taking drugs or whatever they're doing, which just blows my head up, because I'm just like, why are you doing that? Like, your acne is flaring up, and you're still wanting to treat the cause of your acne, but you're not actually addressing all these other issues that are happening in your life. But as soon as you're ready to have a child, you're ready to stop those things. So that's quite a bit of an interesting psychological point of view, that people are willing to make these massive changes in their life when they're open to have a baby, but not willing to kind of being resistant to taking coffee away, or to stopping alcohol, or eating different foods to treat their acne, but they're willing to do that to have a child.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I suppose they should remember that, they were a baby once too as well, right? And I'm sure their parents would have wanted the best for them. But yet,
Yeah.
they're filling their own body with poisons.
Yeah, and you mentioned at the start of the call, like, you went on antibiotics and you said, oh, my commensal bacteria is just out the window and things like that. I mean, when you look at the vaginal microbiome, you look at the gut gastrointestinal microbiome, these microbiota and the microbiome, we don't even understand it. If anyone thinks they're all over it, they're not, because we there's research coming out all day, every day. It's changing. But basically, this microbiome is like its own nervous system in itself, which is absolutely fascinating, and helps create the nervous system of an unborn baby. So when you think about using antibiotics to treat your acne, you're really doing so much damage potentially to not only your gut health now, and it's not treating your acne, but potentially to your unborn baby, and the level of health that you can provide them as you pass on that microbiota, which is very interesting in itself, and why I'm so passionate about treating acne and really getting in there quick. Because if we can do that, and we can have women have those beautiful years leading up to wanting to have a family in a really good space, and imagine, I don't want to say the quality, but yes, the quality of that offspring and of that baby. And potentially, like, a lot of people talk about genetics, or it's in my genetics that I get acne and things like that. Well, it's not actually in your genetics, it's your inability to process waste, excess hormones, whatever is we're looking at, and your liver, and what else from your lifestyle are you doing that's limiting your body, as we're all different. We've all got different weakened systems and different strong systems. So it's not necessarily that your mum had it, your grandma had it. Yes, there's a small minor genetic component, as there is with everything, but really looking at your liver and your gut health, and what you're doing now, as that being the leading cause of your acne, not just, oh, my mum had it, I had it, and this is going to be my story, and my child's going to have it, because you can break that cycle.
Yeah, it's interesting, and I just wanted to finish up something sprung to mind, and that's people think it's normal to have acne during teenage years.
Mm-hmm.
Well, again, I would say it's not normal, but it's very common. So we know about 85% of teenagers have acne at some point. But if you look at teenagers in hunter-gatherer tribes,
Yes.
0% of those have acne, right? And when I look back to my own experience, so my acne started at 13, just like it did for you. And most people say, well, that's because your puberty, your testosterone levels went up. Yes, okay, that's a factor. But I also got my BCG vaccination at 13. I also got a number of mercury fillings aged 13. And my teenage years, I was drinking copious amounts of Coca-Cola. I was eating a high sugar diet, a high dairy diet, right? Pasteurized dairy. And it was probably, it would have been semi-skimmed pasteurized dairy as well. So probably the worst type of dairy you could get.
Yeah.
And, all those factors probably played a role in my acne. But then when you look at most people, when do they eat? When do people eat the worst diet in their life? It's normally during their teenage years. So that, they go to, fast food restaurants with their friends and, they don't want to feel left out. But when you get through, well, I would say for me, once I got through about 26, 27 was when I started to think, hang on a minute, is what I'm eating healthy? And I started to learn and understand. So, even for teenagers, I would say acne is not normal. It's just common, but it's probably common because of all the reasons we've been discussing today, of all the imbalances, all the toxins, etc. in the body.
I completely agree with you. And that's a great point that you've brought up. I don't believe it's just a normal part of life that teenagers get acne because you look at, hunter-gatherer populations, you look at all of the, I've spent some time in Brazil, you look in Africa, you look in all these other types of cultures. Asian cultures, there's a lot of different, fats and things like that the oils that they're cooking with. And, that's quite an interesting research that I was looking into in regards to acne and Asian, people and their skin. But in regards to other hunter-gatherer, people and people living on land with a connection to nature, community, and unprocessed foods, there is little to no sign of acne. So I'm going to call bullshit the same as you to that, and people just believing that story because, you can go against the grain of what society says is normal and accepted if you believe it's not, because it's not. And I feel like a lot of people just go along with it and they're just like, oh, that's just going to happen to my kid because that's just what's happening to everyone. But I think in that situation as a parent, you really have to look at, well, what am I eating? Where are we going on our weekends? Are we rushing around and going to all the parties and all the things, or are we actually going for a getaway with our kids and letting them go to a farm stay to pat animals and walk around barefoot in mud and, make their own food and pick eggs and, from chickens and do those types of things? Or are we just like, what are we doing in ourselves? How often are we on our phones? How often are we consuming foods that aren't nutrient dense, that are just calorie dense? How often are we having conversations that are just surface level and not really supportive conversations and living in community where we help each other and, we talk about, because acne also can be connected to a lot of anger. When you look at traditional Chinese medicine, and, I'm not a practitioner of Chinese medicine, but I did train with a lot of acupuncturists when I was in my training at Endeavour College of Natural Health in Brisbane. And it was really interesting listening to them talk about acne and having a lot of anger and all this energy, and it's not being able to be moved around the body, and there's a lot of stagnant energy. And when you look at the sedentary life where, you mentioned teenagers, they're sitting down doing their Xboxes, they're doing whatever, not Zooms, I don't know. They're on all the things with the laptops and TikToks and on their phones and messaging and all of that. Whereas before, you would have like gone out to meet your friend on the street, you would have moved your body, you would have ride your bike to school. That's why I think sports and moving around your lymphatic system, being, mobile is good, but also, not doing it every day and having parents just like having kids with extracurriculum activities up to their eyeballs as well. So it's that fine balance, and I don't have children myself, so I say that with hands on my heart that I'm not a parent, but I have a lot of parents that have been clients that have come to me with their kids that have acne, and lots of skin therapists see see kids with acne, teenagers that come in with acne, and they are getting younger and younger and really suffering with acne. And, you know, being in a social media age that we are, there's all this bullying that's happening online. You know, and yeah, like you said, it's cool to have Maccas and it's cool to have all this really toxic food. And, you know, when people with acne, they're already not confident, so they want to fit in, and everybody wants to be a part of a group as well. So there's so many different levels to it. I mean, I could just talk all day and every day about breaking this down and how passionate I am about it. But yeah, I love that you brought that up, and I completely agree with you. Acne is not a normal part of life for anybody at any stage of life, whether that be a menarche, teenage years, just before you want to get pregnant because you come off the pill, or at menopause. You know, when you go through menopause, it's not a normal part of life to have acne and to suffer with other side effects that women tell me, with brain fog, you know, aggression, night sweats, mental health issues, not being able to move their bowels, urinary tract infections, anxiety, digestive issues, allergies, intolerances, the list goes on. And the acne is always at the top of it. So it is quite alarming, and, you know, we've got quite a lot of work for us to do yet.
Yeah, for sure. So I just want to quickly finish off. Could you perhaps give very quickly what your top 3 tips would be for anyone who's suffering from acne and feels like they don't know where to turn?
Yep. So the first one would be find a therapist that you can trust and you have a conversation with, that you would like to work with to find the root cause of your acne, and, you know, really be strong and confident in asking the right questions to find that therapist and really understand what the root cause of your acne is and what you need to do, and ask the silly questions to really understand it. And don't feel silly when you ask those questions, because I ask questions like that all the time. So that would be number 1. And number 2 would be prioritize nutrition in your day, not as a chore, but as higher than a supplement, higher than prescriptions. Prioritize it in your day as if it is medicine, and really prioritize the time that it takes to eat well. And if you don't know how to eat well for your individual body, find someone who can support you to eat well. We all are so different, and different foods work well for different people. So that would be number 2. And number 3 is, don't be so hard on yourself, and know that this is only temporary, and this is not a part of a normal life that you're going to have to suffer with forever. You know, I've done it, and hundreds of my clients have done it. You can treat it, and you can treat your acne long term, and, like, you know, you've said at the start of this call, successfully obtain all these beautiful positive side effects along the way, where you learn more about yourself and how you thrive as a human being on this planet. So really, you know, see acne as your superpower, that you can learn about your body in ways that other people can't, because you've got this mirror and your body's communicating to you in a way that you now understand because of your acne. And that is very hard to do when you have acne, but you can become very good at catching yourself and being the best healthy human that you can be, because you understand this innate connection between your body and your mind and your soul, and how that shows up on your skin as a external reflection of what's happening internally.
That's some really great advice there. What's next for you, Hayley?
What's next for me? So I have my Advanced Acne to Glow program, and people are enrolling in that, which I'm so excited. We've got a new masterclass that we're coming out, which is called Treat Acne Through the Gut, the first place to start treating acne. So I'm excited to have that up on my website. And I've got my other course, Advanced Acne Scarring to Glow. And in future, I don't know when because I'm loving this, but I would love to go into the anti-aging side of things and really look at longevity and preventing women from having to use fillers and Botox and things like that, and having these other amazing options, and really looking at the longevity of a woman's life and their hormones. And once again, coming back to that same theme of preventing osteoarthritis, preventing a very, unhealthy menopausal, change, all these types of having more energy in the morning, being able to play with your kids, successfully carry a child, have these beautiful, healthy hormones, whatever it is that you want. The second side effect of that is having good, clear skin and not needing synthetic chemicals to be injected, because injecting that isn't going to improve your overall skin health. It's just a temporary Band-Aid solution like the other pharmaceuticals that we've talked about today to treating acne. So that's what's next for me, which I'm excited about. But acne will always be my first love and will always be, what I'm going to do it forever.
Awesome. And where can people find you online?
So they can find me at www.skincareacademy.com.au. My Instagram is skincare_academy_. And that's where I have everything on there. I'm starting a YouTube channel, which will be really exciting as well. So Skincare Academy on YouTube. That's where you can find me. My you can DM me. You can always send me a question. I'm really open. This is what I love to do. So mainly focusing on supporting skin therapists, estheticians, dermal nurses, really treat the cause of acne in their practice is where I'm at the moment. I have a colleague who I'm working with in regards to one-on-one work with acne clients, but my area of expertise is in the skin and beauty industry. So if you are there, then hit me up and I would love to be able to help you.
Awesome. Hayley, thank you so much. Not only have you shared some great information today, but your passion, is really shone through as well, which is absolutely great.
No, thank you so much. And thank you for reaching out and, giving me this opportunity to speak and share. And, this is another opportunity for me to help more people and really share this message about, the truth behind acne and what people need to know and understand about treating the root cause of acne.
Oh, that's great. So that's all from Hayley and me for this week. But don't forget to join me the same time, same place next week on the Radical Health Rebel podcast. Thanks for tuning in. Remember to give the show a rating and a review, and I'll see you next time.